Hey, what is up, guys? It's Giltspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We are here for round 8, Atrocity versus Object of Depression, and today I am joined by all4domo. How you doing today, Domo?
I am doing great. Just came off an interesting match as well in the previous series, so I'm intrigued to see what happens here.
Yeah, no, it was a very fun series. For those who aren't aware, I was playing with my team Sample Tax, which was a lot of fun against Immortal Alliance, and I had myself some fun with Zableet.
You almost got a few of those flicks around corners. You got a few good ones, but you whiffed once or twice. It was close. Like it felt like it scratched their backs, man. Like, oh, you gave them a nice back scratch.
Yeah. Sometimes you get those flicks just right, and sometimes you're just an inch away, or like, come on, just need a little bit more space.
Like, give me the pocos.
Exactly. But with that being said, we are good to go for trial number 1 with Atrocity as the killer on Dead Dog Saloon. I mean, this is a very killer-sided map, so what are your thoughts on what killer Atrocity might end up bringing?
Well, again, I said this in the last stream, Nurse is basically the go-to. Nurse, Bubba, Huntress, these killers can easily hold control of the map, especially with the last two having agitation, bring it to the 3-gen, camp it out with your ability to basically deny saves. And Nurse, of course, can just blink across the whole map so fast because of their range, and it's such a small map. So any of those killers I could see being brought out here right now.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's going to be interesting, of course. You know, if the 3-gen spawns, you're pretty much going to sit there for a lot of the time, so you really do want those type of killers to be available to you. Otherwise, you know, maybe we might see some mobility-focused killers, maybe a Wraith of All Seen, though it did get nerfed. I do remember Wraith is still pretty good because those bushes cover pretty much the entire map.
Yeah, especially if they try to hide out Corrupt in the bushes or something.
Exactly. But with that being said, we won't have to wait long, and it is a Blight.
It's a Blee Man. The bouncy boy.
It is the bouncy boy, but there's a lot of messy collision on this map.
And if I might say, we did not bring Compound, so they could try to hide this up. But, or he found somebody and connects on the final charge. Dang.
Yeah, really good find there, and very early find too. I'm surprised they kind of tried to mind game that. I felt like they had the distance necessary to get the hit before the pallet. I don't know about you.
It would have been really close, but he just tried to maybe secure something with a mind game. And does he get the flick around here? Yes, he will. Shoulder flick coming in.
Yeah, really good down there. Was a little bit messy. I was actually a bit concerned with that double bounce, thinking that they might end up missing their timing. But it did end up working in the long run. But we do hear a totem go off, and we actually aren't sure what that totem was, as we had not seen Gen regress. Though I will make a note, it was Ruin. Ruin is now gone full as a Bleat, so he is now devoid of any passive Gen regression.
Well, it's essentially, at this point, it's like trademark for Blight. If Blight isn't bringing Ruin, especially in comp, I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, right? Ruin is just one of those things where I feel like most of the time you're going to see it, though I will say I haven't seen Eruption starting to be used more and more.
Oh, trying to get the hug tech here on this object. Not able to quite get it yet. There it is. Well done.
So I just want to know how good they were at their patience and basically hug teching after hug tech in order to get that hit. So really, hats off to this Blight, just having all the patience and control in the world to get that hit there.
And what we see here is a Tinker as well. There is no tear radius on this Blight. They basically accepted that this gen is going to pop and... Oh! Missing the hit there. Very well done on the Nia's part. I'm not sure if that was a dead hard or whatever it was. It was a good juke.
I think Blight may have just assumed that she's going to go for the pallet, but instead she kind of held her ground, and so Blight missed time. And we actually did see that she had dead hard, but used it on the water wheel and is just able to get some really good distance here.
Nia had a really good chase there. Could have even made it a bit better if they were a tiny bit more patient on this window here as well. But I think they bought their survivors enough time to reset and be pressuring multiple gens right now. As we see another Tinker go on Jallow.
Yeah, overall, it's just really great plays there by the Nia, giving their team all the time necessary to start trying to break into the 3-gen. Unfortunately for them, Pop Weasel will regress it ever so slightly, and that will put them into a bit of a rough scenario.
Especially with Blight, it can feel like a bit more than light. It can feel massive just because he can come back instantly if he wants to. It's not like do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, gonna be interesting to see here. And
coming back to the hook.
What this Blight's gonna do here. You know, they're gonna wait out this hook, but if a gen tinkers, are they gonna leave it or try and stick through?
I don't even really see a solid 3-gen at the moment. No, there's kind of one. It's not really the greatest 3-gen setup, honestly. He's gonna try to confirm second stage here, though.
Yeah, I think this is probably the right play, but we see, is that 1 or 2 back-to-back Tinkerers?
I think that was just the one there.
Okay, maybe a noise notification from the Claudette here then.
Yeah.
Era's like, wait 1 second.
Oh, Firecracker's coming out. Oh, he gets the flick on him. Well done. They got the save, but I believe the Nia already hit second stage, so the Blight is completely okay with that. I think at this moment right now, what's going to happen is that they're going to try and find the Nia and confirm a kill, hoping they don't have PS.
I mean, I think that is probably the best choice here, right? I don't think the Blight is really too upset about losing that hook and kind of going from there.
No, yeah, exactly that. Oh, bouncy twice, man. The collision on Blight sometimes has like been changed and it feels bad.
Yeah, it can be quite rough at times, where you just kind of end up bouncing off of things that you think you should slide off of, or vice versa. And I don't know if behavior does it purposely, or if it's just the string code, you know, doing its thing.
I feel like the collision changes almost every single patch, and I just want to wonder why. Why would you do that to me? Oh, very well done. The deli, I believe that was from the Claude. That's a possible DS that he does not want to pick up right now. Honestly, this Nia is still not healed up. If you can find this Nia, oh, there for that. Gonna try to get a 180. Well done. Solid pressure from the Blight right now.
Yeah, honestly, though, if I'm the Blight here, I may have wanted to go for that pickup, right? There really is not a lot of value gained from the Decisive Strike. Just due to the fact that you get 5 seconds of time, but that ain't much distance. But Blight has found a better target here, as they do find the Nia, and could potentially kill her out of the game very early on.
Honestly, this Nia needed to be healed up. I'm not sure why they did not reset her. They're gonna play safe, but they're in the corner of the map right now. Nia is going to die, no doubt about it.
So actually, here's a question for you, because I wasn't paying attention. Was she not healed on Saloon?
No, she was.
Okay, so we heard we must have heard a Dead Hard hit validation then.
Weird.
Yeah, Dead Hard hit validation on Blight is miserable, let me tell you what.
Oh yeah, I had to do those earlier as well. Was that 2 tanks actually this time?
So one gen just went off and then a tank up at Saloon. But I don't think Blight's going to get up there in time, so I think he just goes for the pick and calls it a day.
Yeah. At the moment, he's in a really good spot. Claude is on second hook. The Adam, what hook he's on, but they're going to finish this gen in time. Maybe that this was the Adam, they get the down here. Unknown, I don't think it was though. I don't see any blood. Oh, parkour!
Doing some Space Billy tech there, Blight, it would seem.
That was awesome to see, honestly.
I don't think we have any Billy spots on Dead Dog, so nice to see Blight, you know, taking up the legacy that Space Billy left.
And he's better than Blight, honestly. He's a good boy.
Well, that being said, you know, I will mention here, these gens are split. And, like, there's split and then there's split, which we're seeing right now. So these survivors in a really good spot right now to kind of crank out this last gen. But Claude might not make it that long.
No, he's going to confirm this kill here and make it so that only 2 survivors can pressure this. He's going to block him. Yeah, you're not going to get this in time, mates. You don't make it. And now you're going to get hit right away.
Ooh, looks
like they got it off!
Yeah, it wasn't enough time. Ace was able to get the block, and now we see a Tinker in the back. I mean, they'll be able to get there in time with the top, but yeah, it's going to be dangerous.
Wow. That might have actually killed the game a bit for the Blight. Maybe not get the same result now, just because that was last second. And the hit on Adam. Oh! The Dead Hard coming through.
Yeah, I mean, Dead Hard is strong, and I guess I was wrong about the Nia having Dead Hard. I thought she did, but maybe not.
No, she did not. And Adam's just going to run to the corner of the map and try to waste as much time as humanly possible. No, he's going to use his pallet now. Drop it. Oh, that was really risky.
Yeah, I guess Adam here decided that he didn't need to and was just able to get to the tile. And Adam right now leading them into a pretty good chase and allowing their teammates to heal up.
Yep. This was the down, though. I doubt they are on that gen because they don't want to give him another pop. They're probably going to split on gens right now. I don't believe Adam is Deathhook, if I'm not mistaken. So they still have some time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're right now in a very, very good spot.
Honestly, right now, what they should do is they should have Ace take some more aggro for the team. I know that his Blight is thinking about only having his eyes on Claudette or Adam, but yeah, Ace needs to try to do something to try to bring his team here.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And the next question is I wonder if that back corner on the left regressed below Tinker range. You know, it was pretty well done before, and I don't know if it was. I think they could have potentially flown this one under the radar.
It was going to be actually very close. Oh, and they saw the hiding right there. He had to check that they were here working on it. This is the hook he needs. On the Claude. Not quite going to happen. Unfortunate, but there are no pallets left in this area except for right by the gen that he can maybe mind game here, honestly. Doesn't happen. Claude is going to run and try to buy some time, maybe avoid the rush.
Yeah, but he can't exactly last long as Blight, but Blight not able to get them down.
Oh my, that actually is so good. There's a pallet here too. Can they make to the Shack in time? They can.
Pallet, there's Shack, there's Pallet Shack. I mean, this Claudette has resources for days.
That action right there with Shack being up and him missing that hit around that cactus might have lost him the game right here. Let's see.
And it's very possible. We see him trying to go for the Adam, who's still injured.
I think he tried to hug tech around that little house there, but got bumped instead with the collision. Unfortunate. He is going to get the down here, I believe, on Adam, but he will try to wait some time.
Adam just not able to get the flashlight. There's the dead hard. Blight missing once again, but where's the ace to confirm that gen?
And there it is. One of these gens has to pop up right now. I'm imagining that there's a possibility of a one-man out, potentially two, because Adam is dead on a hook. Let's see what happens. No?
Surprisingly not. Maybe they decide to reset instead and go for the gen on the back corner. But now this does allow Blight to kind of get back into the game.
Yeah, they should have pressured this immediately. Like Adam should have said, hey, I'm getting off this. And they should have just rotated back to finish that one off when he had enough time.
And the Carnage Gen is still regressing too.
Never mind, that Claudette didn't buy enough time, I guess. So they did a really good chase there, but no, they just committed to the wrong gens. And now I think they lose.
I think they may have, ended up hurting themselves in the long run, but we do see Ace now on that other gen, and looks like Blight will end up going for it.
They're just going to consistently proc Tinkerer and leave this gen. If Ace is down here, that is very bad.
Yeah, it looks like he probably left early, though, which I think is the right move. You want to proc Tink, leave early, stay on by, and kind of force the Blight to commit to one area for that, slow manual regression. Otherwise, if you leave, you're just going to jump immediately back on the gen and get it past Tinker range, and you're golden.
Right now, I think what he's going to do is going to fake it and come back. Yeah, here it comes. He's waiting to flush out the ace.
Yeah, but all the time spent here is just time gained by the Claudette, and yes, he finds the ace.
He needs to run to main building and try to buy as much time in main as possible, but these charges are going to come back pretty fast. I think he might have it. Yeah, there it is.
I think the play here, honestly, just go for the hook on ace. If Claude finishes the gen, then you know exactly where she is.
I don't even think the Claude will be able to finish the gen. That's the problem here. That chase is far too short.
Well, Tinker went off, so I think she has enough time. And we did see that gen pop off.
They at least get all 5 gens done, though, which is what's important. I think the Claude is going to try to hide here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the right move is exactly that. Try and hide, go for the hatch escape, because unhooking here just isn't going to do you any favors.
No, not at all. I think he's just gonna confirm this. No, he's gonna look at the gates. And this is a godly gate spawn too. There's nothing like the Claude can do.
Not to mention that they have their hook right here, where they can keep an eye on the ace, they can keep an eye on the gates.
Exactly.
And now it just comes down to where Hatch is going to spawn, and because of the new update, Hatch has not spawned yet, giving this Blight all the time in the world to kind of just sit here and wait.
No, yeah. And I mean, once the ace dies, I assume right now the ace is going to give as much time to the Claude to find that hatch. And if hatch spawns right by the gates, then that's just bad luck for the Claude and the team in general. But let's see what happens. If it spawns somewhere else, they're in a good spot.
I mean, keep in mind that even if the ace struggles on hook, it doesn't matter with hatch anymore. It doesn't spawn until the last survivor, or there's only one survivor left.
So I guess they're just kind of maybe trying to get them in a good position, maybe trying to hide around. Yeah, that's a better call. And mine went back to them.
Looks like they do get the escape. At the end of the day, that's 3 points, but 3 points might be the determining factor, as we do look at 23 points to 42. So 23 points for Object of Depression, 42 for Atrocity and the Blight. So definitely some pretty good results there by the Blight. I mean, realistically speaking, that is a 19-point lead as they move into Game 2 and their Survivor side.
Yeah, and I think Atrocity has a pretty strong Survivor side as well. So, I mean, it is Dead Dog, so if they bring a really strong killer here, then there's a possibility that they can just make one small misstep and they can be hooked in a 3-gen and it can really just fall apart for Atrocity. So OOD, if they bring in a good killer, they can do this. They can bring it back.
Yeah, I definitely think it's still within the realm of possibility. The game is not over yet, to say the least. And with that being said, I do believe, as far as killers are concerned, for Object of Depression, I believe we are going to be seeing Zappies killing first.
Zappies. I'm expecting a nurse from him, I'll be real.
Yeah, normally I would think maybe Zappies, you know, being known for some clown and twins might have brought that. Unfortunately, twins, I think it's still bugged. I'd have to double check and see. But given that they didn't have any information on the patch notes or the hotfix recently, we kept it safe with no pig, no twins for the moment.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Little piggy in this troubled spot.
Well, so do you know what's going on with Pig, out of curiosity?
I think there wasn't there that, what was it bug? I know there's been a few hat bugs where it shows that it's still on your head, and I've had like one person die even though it wasn't on their head before. Like, it didn't make any sense, and it was just like, well, that's just fantastic.
Yeah, there's that. There's also the possibility that off of hook, if you have a reverse bear trap on, you also can't move.
Oh, I didn't know about that one, actually. I'm not surprised, though. I'm really not surprised.
So, Pig in a rough spot right now. For those who do know this now, try your best not to run Pig in pubs, as you'll provide those survivors with a miserable time.
Be hated by all. Prepare for hate mail. But yeah, what were you expecting them, other than Nurse? What do you think they could bring?
Realistically speaking, if we're kind of taking the grand scheme of things on Dead Dog Saloon, Bubba would not be a bad option. Nurse, as we mentioned before, is just a fantastic option on this map. So, realistically speaking, I think they have a lot of options here. You know, Wraith, as mentioned before, but I think being at a point deficit, actually, yeah, at a point deficit, you're probably going to want to bring out an S tier, so my bet is probably Nurse.
No, yeah, exactly that. And as I said before, we've mentioned where, you know, Bubba and Huntress, they can do some work if they get a 3-gen and they just get it early down. It can be devastating. But I think the safe bet here, if you have all your S tiers, use a Nurse. Just go with it. And, yeah, that's the play.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, you know, there's currently speculation and rumors going on right now that we might have a PTB on the 9th. With a...
I mentioned that last stream.
Yeah, an OG survivor and an OG killer. What are your thoughts there on if we got a new killer this soon after Michaela? What would you like to see from a killer?
Honestly, just something that's different in power from what we've kind of already had. Something that's a bit more unique, because, you know, Nemesis is kind of, he's similar in some playstyles, like Nemesis, and, like, you know, he has got similar aspects with Huntress. He's got, you know, a bit different with, like, breaking pallets and zoning and be able to move while breaking pallets and the infection and such. But again, with, Pinhead, he's kind of like Nurse with his casting, and it's a bit different when he's, you know, in his mode with shooting the chain. But there's a lot of similar elements to other killers. I'd like something that's kind of completely sort of different, like Blight, for instance. There's really nothing else like Blight. He's like one of the best original killers they've come up with. I would love another one like that.
Yeah, I know I've said a few times on my stream, I would love almost like a reverse Ghostface in a way. And some people might not fully understand what I mean by that. But more or less, the thought process is that as you look at the killer more and more often, you end up getting slowed down in a way, kind of like a Medusa or a Gorgon killer. I think that'd be a really cool concept.
It's like, don't look at the killer sort of thing. But
exactly.
But you kind of have to when you're looping, so it's like, oh, look as little as you must, you know. That's interesting.
Yeah, for me, that's my go-to right now for what I'd like to see. Otherwise, I can't really think of any concepts, and that's why I will say I'll give credit where credit's due to Behavior. They're still doing a fantastic job of creating powers that are unique, but not, you know, exactly the same as what we're already seeing. We're already seeing, of course, with the Nurse and Pinhead. But I do see Giraffe is unmuted. I think they have a quick update for us.
Are you in lobby?
We were in lobby. Zappies, I think, may have had to reset again.
Okay. I will let them know then. I thought we got in lobby.
Yeah, we were, and then we weren't. But with that being said, One thing I would really like to see, and I think we will see with the new killer, is probably more Scourge Hook perks, as that was something that was initially brought with Pinhead. I would love to see what else they can do with Scourge Hook, and, you know, how that might influence the game.
And now boons as well. I feel like in the future they're going to add, like, a survivor might have, like, one sort of boon. By the way, now that it's kind of been out for a while, what are you thinking on the boons? What's your thoughts now?
Shadow Step I don't care for as much. I think that it can be useful in certain situations.
I've had Shadows... Yeah, you go.
The only thing is, Circle of Healing, ridiculous. But what's your thoughts on Shadow Step?
I've had a few chases, and I've seen a few streamers as well, and the other friends that they've had a few times, depending on the map, where you injure one survivor, and then they have like line of sight blockers in that one area where the totem is, and then all of a sudden you just lose them because there's other survivors around, and there's other noises, and you really need that hook, say the survivor's on death hook, and they somehow just get lost, and you didn't able to see any blood or something, and then boom, your pressure is completely evaporated. I feel like it's situational, but very good, if that makes sense. So Circle Healing is not as situational and always good, and Shadow Step is more situational, but still quite good.
I definitely tend to agree with you in that regard, where Shadow Step is definitely situational, but when it works, it works. I mean, a great example, I think, was last match when I was playing the Blight. I was pretty sure, and I actually didn't confirm, that the Atom had Lucky Break, and for a moment I was like, where did they go? Wait a second, they didn't go the way I thought they would.
No, I saw that too. I was like, wait, Giltspire lost them?
Yeah, because I was looking down, like, no scratch marks, no blood, where are they? Wait, excuse me? And then I realized, like, oh, Adam went back to the pallet. Okay, Lucky Break. Makes sense. So, with that being said, that's a good example of how similar things like Shadow Step can work in your favor. Of course, when you're injured, a lot more harder to pull that off. But if you're able to break line of sight consistently, then yeah, I mean, I'll say for certain Shadow Step can be a huge nuisance in those moments. Otherwise, though, Circle of Healing just feels so broken.
Oh, yeah.
I was swiffing up with some viewers, and one of my teammates was actually joining me during that stream, and they were running Mitri. I put Circle of Healing nearby, and whenever I saw that the chase at Mitri was getting a bit short, where they might have to drop pallet, I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to body block, and then go back and heal, and body block. And literally we turned Mitri into an infinite.
It's legit so fast, especially if you have like a med kit in particular. You can like, oh, I can just heal up like almost instantaneously and take another one. It's like there's not much you can do. I feel like there needs to be some more debuff to it, especially if there's a 3-gen in particular. With any sort of like decent squad, even if they're solo queues, they just know that, oh, I can't really be injured here. I'll just take a hit and go back to this boon. They just can keep doing that and keep pressuring, and eventually they're going to have to commit, and then they will get a gen done. Like in the past, that wouldn't happen. They'd have to reset each other. Now they like, I can just reset myself, and those two can be on gen.
I feel like Circle of Healing is the new self-care, and here's the reason why I literally say that, is the other day I was playing on Killer, doing some tomes, and first game of the day, I saw a Circle of Healing. Cool, let's break it. Hook Claudette, she gets unhooked, she applies Circle of Healing again to the totem next to the hook and decides to start healing. I'm like, are you serious? So I read down her rinse repeat. Like, that's a great example of how to not use Circle of Healing. However, following match, Bad Ham Preschool got a 3-gen, and guess what? Circle of Healing across the map and there's only 3 survivors left. I would hit them, they would run a Circle of Healing. If I leave the gens, they do the gens. If I commit to if I stick to the gens, they heal themselves. Like, well, it's a lose-lose situation.
And it's not like you can actually go across the map and sink and break it, because then as soon as you come back, they're going to be on the gen. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, I'll just rotate back and put it back on there. And then we're immediately going to have constant pressure, unlike before where you'd have to have someone else and find them and communicate where you are and reset. So it is broken, I feel. I feel like Behavior was like, this is a cool idea. I didn't realize how much this changes aspects of the game at higher levels of play.
Oh, yeah.
Where people actually understand what they're doing and don't play too risky. You were like, oh, I can actually just heal myself up and it won't take too much time. We just play this a bit slower and we win.
I mean, this is the first time since probably Deliverance was released that we have a perk that, in my opinion, is meta. So meta, in fact, that it's been banned from pretty much every comp league.
You won't see it, like, I don't think, unless there's some major rework, I don't think you'll ever really see it just because of its power level. And of course, survivors, you know, especially in the kind of mainstream of the game, are going to say, Oh, well, it's just a boon totem. You can break it, and just kind of do boons. Now is the new saying, whatever I've seen on Twitter and in general. But you can't do that again in that scenario we said. If they put it across the map, it's not like you can go look for it. And oftentimes, if you're not in the area where it is, or running somebody or being chased, you're not going to see it or not going to hear it. So, like, it's just not good for the game and health in general.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that I'd like to see, as far as a nerf is concerned, for boon totems, honestly, is to see it when you break a totem or snuff out a boon totem, that they get destroyed, that the totem just gets destroyed outright.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree with that. I mean, I guess they're thinking of maybe like, oh, maybe the killer has an endgame build and they have no ed or something. Like, maybe that's their thought process on that. But I would think it'd be better where that, or because it's a boon, that once you use it once, that's it. That's done.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. But apologies for the wait real quick. I do believe we're just doing a quick double check on usage of killers. I believe we're good, but we had someone asking for a quick check on how many times we've seen a specific killer used for OOD, so just going to confirm. Thankfully, in Season 2, won't have to worry about this as much as we are switching up the way that it's done, which will be rather nice to say the least.
I think OOD is only used Oni twice, and everything else they can use.
I believe so, based off the killer tracker, but when people ask for me to dot my I's, cross my T's, always a good idea to double check. And apparently my file system says, hey, you can't multi-select things, sorry, you have to do it one at a time. I'm like, okay, I guess. Why should I?
Fair enough.
But to confirm, looks like OD so far, off of what I'm seeing, has not used the killer in question twice. So I think we should be good. I'll give them the go-ahead in just 1 second, as I do want to go through everything. There's round 4. Looking at round 5. So as I'm doing this real quick, what are your thoughts on nerfs for circle healing or boon totems as a whole?
With nerfs?
No, with nerfs on circle healing.
Oh, yeah. Again, I think if they make it so there's a limited amount of uses, not where you can infinitely re-bless the same totem, or like you suggested, where the killer has the choice to either just, unbless it or break the totem, that would be good as well.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the best bet, realistically speaking, to ensure that boon totems don't feel too strong.
Exactly, and I mean, at least when your Ruin's gone, it's gone. Like, unless you're gone dying, but that's 1 hex down, not coming back. It's not the same thing with here, and I feel like the healing is almost more powerful to an extent, depending on, how the team plays, But I guess we'll see. I assume we're almost ready here to...
Yep, I believe we are good to go, as we did do the double check, and the killer has not been used twice. We'll have to leave it for a short surprise before we can announce who the killer was, but, significantly... a significant killer. That's what I'm trying to say. A significant killer that, if it was used more than twice, would be pretty significant. But I think we're good here.
I think I'm right. It has to be the nurse. Like, I'm predicting it from Zappies here.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense to me that you bring nurse on Dead Dog. Father Campbell's Chapel, you kind of play whoever at that point. But Dead Dog, I think... Nurse or Bubba, and I think Nurse was really the only one that was in question for all intent purpose.
Oh, 100%. And let's see how the survivors do. I think on Nurse is better than Blight on this map. So I really think that the killer can do some work here.
Now, I agree wholeheartedly, and sure enough, it is the Nurse.
instantly blinking to Gallows, trying to find the survivor that spawned here. And High Surveillance did spawn here. Just needs to find them out. There they are.
Sure enough, they are able to find the Ace, but Ace, however, potentially finding a totem as well as we hear the first totem of the game go out.
Ooh. That was unfortunate as well. Wasn't able to have enough distance on that blink, and they're going to run in this area, which is the more unfortunate area to run with Nurse. That has so much line of sight blockers that you really don't want to really be chasing here all too much if you can help it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam going for a hug on the Nurse and is able to dodge the initial hit, but not the second one thereafter. And Nurse just lining up for the hit and is going to try and box out the Adam and gets the down.
Fantastic blink. He was trying to decide if they were going to double back or just commit all the way through. Made the right choice. Gets a pretty early down here, all things considered, and pushed off with Ruin as we saw in that game.
We did hear another totem going off, but we did still see Ruin up, suggesting a third perk in usage. The question is, which one is it? Was it a Haunted Ground, was it a Devour, or likely a Haunted Ground?
Honestly, I think it's going to be that Haunted, especially with the way Surveillance is playing. It's going to be a blink through. Nope. Oh, what? Somehow not hitting the Claude. That would have been really clutch here on the Nurse's part.
I'm surprised that did not connect, to be honest, but we do see the down with Haunted Ground, and Claude is now going to be up on hook for their first hook of the game.
Yeah, and just a bit longer of a chase. They might be able to get a gen done because they didn't get that initial connect on that first swing, which Zappy is probably kicking himself over. I mean, I feel like the game sort of cheated him on that more than anything else.
Yeah, that is fair, but they do find High Surveillance once again as we do hear that first gen pop off. And I do want to note that Ruin is still in play as of this moment in time as we do see those gens regressing, but Zappy is getting that good hit on High Surveillance and nearly seen them there with the blink, but not able to make it happen.
And gets the down nonetheless. Three hooks for one gen is honestly a solid spot right now. Plus, there are two people injured. The Nurse has so much pressure. Right now, the survivors have to reset, and they have to find a spot where the Nurse will not check.
Yeah, that's the most difficult part, right, is you want to try and find that safe spot, but it can kind of be a difficult thing, but it does seem that the Nurse has found their location, and we did see scratch marks there, and we do find Claude dead over by the water wheel.
And this is very important for the killer right. Oh, unfortunate. Still gets a hit nonetheless. Very well done on Zappy's part. If he can down the Claude right here, that'll be very clutch. A second hook on the Claude, and I think they probably touched the gen, or it's been a minute. Let's see.
She did touch that gen, so that does mean that she does not have Decisive Strike active at this moment. And Zappies will hook and now move to these other gens. I mean, that's a survivor on death hook with 4 gens remaining. We do see a noise notification over here on this gen regressing by 8 seconds. And now Ruin will regress it to 0.
And I think the important thing that Zappies needs to do is he needs to just leave this and go back and secure the kill. And he should just honestly go back to his 3 gen after that. Not even be concerned with things out here.
That is fair, though I do want to note that I'm not sure if the timer is just seeming slow because I'm staring at it, or if it is actually slow due to camaraderie, aka kinship now.
It looks like it's slower, actually. Hold on, let me zoom in. Yeah, it's paused, yeah.
But we do see that unhook, and now the question is, will Zappies go for the Nancy or go for the kill on the Claude?
I think he's going to assume that the Claude does have Decisive. He might not go for them right now, and he's going to get the Nancy down instead. But this is a fresh hook, so he's not going to get as much pressure from this person here. Or have they been hooked?
They have not been hooked yet, so this is their first hook. And I'd be willing to bet maybe we're seeing a deliverance here from the Nancy.
I would not be surprised. I'm pretty sure any sort of 3 gen has been broken at this moment. I mean, Nurse has more pressure on the map than any other killer. But right now, and I think that was for the totem, was it not?
Yep, that now means that the Nurse is a 0 perk Nurse, but I don't think she cares, as she's going for that 1-2 punch on high surveillance, getting that quick down, and now we have a second survivor on death hook.
Exactly, and we did see, as you called out, that deliverance on Nancy, which bought them a lot of time and pressure.
And who is this here? Is this Adam, I believe?
This is Adam. This is Adam. He's the non-injured survivor, though. I'm not sure if I would commit to this.
Yeah, I mean, really speaking, you have all the time in the world because Adam needs to be the one who goes for the unhook, otherwise it's going to be pretty unsafe. And yeah. I think, honestly, in this situation, you may just want to camp this out.
He's kind of in the central area to where the gens that you want to protect are. So yeah, I might do that.
I will say we saw scratch marks there, and unless that was Adam, that would be an injured survivor. But we see Adam coming in, interrupting the unhook. This would be a 1-for-1 trade, more likely than not.
Yep. Oh, going for the ace now.
And does get the down.
I'd pick this. I'd pick this.
Now they have to hope that they do not have decisive strike, and they do not.
That's an early death, and isn't Adam also... No, he's going second stage only.
Adam would be on second stage, that'd be correct.
I might go check, instead of hooking, I might go check a gen.
I mean, at the same time, though, it doesn't matter. If they go for the gen, you'll know where they are while injured. If they don't, they wait 16 seconds. Now, Nurse knows where an injured survivor is, but it looks like they're going to go back to this gen where they do find the Nancy.
Oh, that is so important right now. They did not get this gen done. Going back to hook instead. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised about that, honestly. I don't think there's any reason not to commit to that chase, especially as that gen is nearly completed.
And then Nancy is on... But Nancy's only hooked once, so never mind. That would be not a perfect idea there. Claudette is, though.
Which does make this unhook very dangerous, to say the least.
Especially because it's so close to that gen that's been worked on.
And sure enough, we do see the Nancy trying to crank that out and able to get the hit. I mean, slug her out and go back to the hook, secure the kill, and that's pretty much game over.
Exactly. That's it. And this is exactly what OOD needed. And as we were talking about earlier, like I said, Nurse is a bit better than Blight on this map just because of that traversal ability and able to hold an area that is so massive where gens are being worked on. And right now, looking pretty bad.
It does, but maybe we were wrong before about camaraderie because, once again, I'm just staring at that timer and it just ain't ticking down. I don't know if it's like the old saying goes, you know, a watch pot never boils or what.
Maybe. Let's see what happens here. Honestly, they're on their back toes right now. Right now, if I were the survivors, I might not even save. I would just try to get the gen done. There is no ruin on this map right now, but they do find the Atom. Oh, that is unfortunate.
And they do get the down.
I'd hook this as well, yeah.
I mean, there's no reason not to. Everyone's on death hook at this point in time. So you just kind of whittle down the resources. If they pop a gen, then hey, they get a few points. But otherwise, it's pretty much just GG.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, I probably would not even go for the save. You either have a gen on the opposite side of the map that's close, or you're just going to try to get in a good spot to maybe have hatch. That's really what the survivors can try to do right now.
Yeah, I think the best play here, honestly, is to get another gen done, which we do here. And that's a smart play because that gets you an additional 5 points. You know, getting the escape only gets you 3, and getting hooked only gives the Nurse 4. So the best thing you can do here is get that gen completed.
I'm surprised, unless there was a bug there, I'm surprised the Nurse did not hear that gen being worked on. I really am.
And maybe it's just a bit too loud between the moans of pain and the sounds of the gen itself for her to hear.
Yeah, possibly, but does get the 4K with an almost perfect, like, 12-foot game.
Yeah, it was pretty much near perfect. I think there was, what, 1 progression that match?
Yeah, 1 progression, basically at the very end there.
So with that being said, we are looking at a total of 14 points for Atrocity and 47 points for OOD's Nurse. I mean, that is 1 point shy of a perfect game, so nicely done, nicely done. And I mean, the match is still pretty close. We're now looking at a 20-point lead for OOD, or 14-point lead. I can do math sometimes when I'm not too tired. 14-point lead for OOD versus Atrocity.
Yeah, honestly, that game set them up really well, and it would have been even better if that gen didn't pop and just went to check that at that second. Like, I would have just gone and checked those gens because if they saved, they still would have been in a really bad spot.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
tend to agree with you in that regard.
Unfortunate. I hope they don't lose by a few points here, but it's really starting to look really good. And OOD does kill again on Father's Chapel. So let's see what happens. I mean, again, the only killer they've used twice now is Nurse and Oni, from what I can tell, unless this needs to be updated by a few more weeks or something. But they can use whatever else they want. They could bring out their own Blight or Spirit.
Yeah,
So,
I went through and updated the killer tracker, so it should all be updated. So I believe the only one they cannot use at this point is Oni. I will say, after that Nurse usage, that is their last time using the Nurse.
Yes, because they used it once before, I remember. I think they used it on us as well, on Cephopit the one week.
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah, well, honestly, this has put it really interesting. I know that we're probably going to see another S tier. They're probably like, wow, we can win this one. I know that OOD does not have the best record at the moment. They've had to kind of a bit of a rough start to this season, kind of getting back into the groove. I think they've kind of found something that suited them a bit more, and they're doing much better now, I think, as of recent. Honestly, I'm excited to see what they're going to do for Season 2 as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially if a lot of changes happen in Season 2 between killer selection to map banning. There's a lot of different things that you can kind of keep in mind moving into Season 2, which, for those who are not aware, will be starting in January of 2022. It sounds so strange saying that.
No,
2022.
It feels like 2021 just started a little while ago, bro. Don't text me like this, all right?
2021, and I still ain't over 2020.
Oh no, and thinking about I got finals coming up and everything here soon. Oh man. Woo.
I feel if you on that, but with that being said, does look like we have Pustalorg as the killer for Object of Depression. What are your thoughts on Pusta?
That is, I haven't seen Pusta kill in a long time. I think he was like since like old days of Vigo's Court.
Yep.
I don't even know what he plays now.
I'm pretty sure I remember them being pretty competent at those S-tier killers, but outside of that, I can't think off the top of my head, but I know they're pretty well-rounded as far as killers are concerned.
Well, then I'm quite interested to see what happens here. Like, yeah.
I mean, this is pretty much the game to decide it with a 14-point lead going into game number 3. If OOD can put up another 4K like that, that would pretty much shut out Atrocity from winning this match.
No, exactly that. Especially with that one hatch escape, and they finished all the gens from OOD. That was the one difference. They finished all gens and got a hatch escape on top of that. So they were in a bit of a better spot. And it could have been, again, a little bit better one as well if it was not for that one gen popping, which was really bold, like, from that person with the Claude. Yeah, the Claude. Like, that was a bold move. I'm not sure if I would have committed to that. Like, I would assume the Nurse would just go in and check that. That was very bold.
It was, but it did work out. I mean, that's an additional 5 points they otherwise may have not been able to get. So it definitely does help keep that gap as, small as possible.
No, exactly that. And I mean, if we don't see a Nurse or a Blight a Spirit or a Blight, I'm going to be a bit concerned because this map can work quite well for the Survivors if they split a 3-gen. Again, there's normally a pretty good 3-gen on either side of the map at times. You just need to kind of pick which one you want to choose and protect it. Like, there's either one going to be at Circus or one by Shack, typically. I normally like the 3-gen around Circus a bit more because there's fewer pallets and good structures around there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Spirit Blight would definitely be a good decision. That was the thought process of my team, actually, as well, hence why I went Blight on Father Campbell's. At the same time, I will say, Spirit, I'm a little bit more dubious of, just because there isn't a lot of environmental cues that you can kind of take advantage of, right? There's not like a lot of grass, there's not a lot of corn, so you really do have to rely on your ability to track with scratch marks and the sounds of survivors, whether that be their breathing or grunts of pain.
I feel like maybe just Pustalorg has more experience in that maybe, and they've just been playing a lot of Spirit recently, or they've got more experience in that, because I don't remember exactly, again, like you said, they're S tiers. Maybe they're going for that. But
Yep.
I could see a Blight coming in.
I would definitely tend to agree with you there, but I do believe we are good to go to jump on in to trial number 3, Object of Depression versus Atrocity, this time with Object of Depression as the killer, specifically Boostalurk. So I am quite excited to see what they bring, because like I said, if they get a 4K, that's pretty much the nail in the coffin for Atrocity.
Yeah, Atrocity is going to be pushing those gens. I assume they're going to split up quite well. This should be the interesting game because, again, Dead Dog was the heavily killer-sided map, especially with Nurse. You kind of expect the 4K to come out. So, yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I don't imagine we'll have to wait all too long as the builds are good to go.
Alrighty.
So, once again, you know, kind of take a step back since we have some time to relax and discuss some interesting things. You know, obviously we talked about what it would look like for a new killer, and would like to see some Scourge hooks, some original ideas for powers. As far as Survivor, you know, if we were to see some more boon totems, what would you like to see in that regard?
I was actually going to ask you that when you brought up the boon. I'm like, I wonder what the next boon could be. Because I feel like they covered so much from, like, scratch marks and healing. Those are 2 main aspects of the game. What else can there be besides that? Like, maybe, I don't know, some vault speed, some sort of resilience that you're going to get, like, in a certain area? I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Whatever it is, you know, though I do want that high risk, high reward, and thus I want boon totems to have a large reward associated with them. At the same time, I just need that risk to be ever so slightly higher. So I'm hoping that behavior sees the response from the community, especially at a higher level, and just tweaks them ever so slightly to where they aren't as powerful as they are at this moment in time.
Yeah, you just don't want to give killers more things to track. Like, oh, and now I gotta keep track of boon totems. So, you know, while I'm trying to think about where everyone is, where they're resetting, what gens are being worked on, I need to think about where they put this boon totem down and if it's actually a problem.
Thankfully, the boon totems are pretty easy to identify, but we are jumping right on in, and it is a spirit.
Ah, well, it is one of the 2 that we did suggest. Let's see what happens. This stuff on the chest is making me a bit weirded out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but apparently Spirit's head is down in her chest. Let's see if we can fix that real quick. Yeah, I think it might just be a straight up spectator glitch. Ooh, I don't know if you noticed something there, but I do believe the Spirit is using the dried cherry blossom to get killer instinct instead of tracking the scratch marks.
That's actually a really good idea. I've tested this like a few times in some custom games, and it can actually be very powerful, because you can just get right on top of them, just come in a phase, and they're right around you.
And there are some content creators saying that the dry cherry blossom almost brings back old Spirit. I don't exactly agree with that, but I can see the argument being made, because she is very strong in that manner and not really having to track all too often, which I think is actually not a bad thing for your average player.
No, yeah, exactly. And you can see that first gen already popped much faster than the first game. One totem going down, another does pop. Man, the speed on that one. They had 2 people on it, though. So there's probably no progress on another gen just because they finished 2 already back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, these survivors are doing a fantastic job, and we do see Ace going there for that totem, and Nancy getting caught out in the middle of nowhere. This is going to be a pretty unfortunate position for these survivors, as they now have pretty much everyone injured, but Spirit not able to get the hit.
Wasn't exactly sure within that area that she was. Knew that she was there.
Yeah, sometimes, even though it is easier to identify where survivors are with that killer instinct, as we're seeing here with the Nancy, it is not a perfect science.
No, and Boostalurk showing some frustration right there, unable to get the down, and I think now as well that with the new spirit changes, it's a bit easier to track her now. Like, you can tell where she's coming from, so you can vault those pallets a bit more easily. Now it's more of a mind game, right? Like, you can know where she's coming from in general. So it gives a bit more power to the survivors now, and less so to the killer.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what people have been saying, that Spirit definitely has been knocked down a few pegs. I'd still say that she's probably arguably an S-tier killer, but definitely worse than Blight in comparison, and no longer in the conversation when comparing her with the Nurse.
No, I would compare Blight and Nurse at this moment. Those would be the two
top. I tend to agree, and man, these survivors not wasting any time, and not to mention, but they've been resetting pretty consistently too, to where there's no one injured at this moment in time.
Yeah, and running to the corners of the map, Adam has been hooked before, so this is a good survivor to chase right now, especially with your power. But we're gonna go back to what? You just jumped in your face?
Yeah, I think that Adam just vaulted directly into Spirit, but Spirit opting to go back for the hook, and for good reason, as the totem that got cleansed was Haunted Ground.
Oh, this is actually really solid right now. If I were the Spirit, I would probably proxy this area and confirm a second stage, but they're probably just going to pick up, get a hook, and maybe go back to the hook after that. But not seeing a hook nearby, that does spell a bit of trouble. They will probably get that save off.
But let's see if that includes the second stage. It looks like Nancy saved just in time. Does not get a second stage, so that will be a difficult situation here for the Spirit to make up. And now try and identify where these survivors went, and seeing scratch marks on the rocks.
Oh, is this a down for the Claude?
It might be.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh. Right at the end of Haunted Ground.
That is very clutch. 2 downs from Haunted is what you can ask for right there. That might have shifted the tide by even a slight amount.
It's possible. At the same time, I do want to note that's still only 4 hooks on 3 gens completed. Yeah. So if I'm the killer, I'm looking at my hook ratio, and I'm a little bit worried.
That was a dead hard, wasn't it?
I thought she may have already been healed.
Oh,
so I think she just took a hit there, straight up. But looks like they are trying to reset before going for the unhook. Honestly, with 30 seconds, give or take, haven't been passed, I would recommend for the Spirit to go back for the unhook, but does commit to the Atom and does get a nice hit.
Oh, fireworks are coming in, but not quite enough to blind the Spirit, but it doesn't matter. They get the vault off anyways.
Yeah, Adam knowing full well that Spirit outside of phase is a M1 115 killer. And we see that killer instinct and Spirit trying to determine that they had been holding W, but they doubled back through. That might be a huge play on Adam's part, be able to hear the direction that the Spirit's coming from, and be able to use that to their advantage. But unfortunately, with no pallet here, it does end up going back down. The
one good thing is, though, that they were able to reset and probably are going to finish the gen right now, I imagine, because the pace of the Adam there did take a bit of time. It wasn't very fast.
At the same time, I do want to note that Ruin is still up and doing its job, which is going to be a very difficult position for these survivors to be in if the Spirit is able to adequately pressure these gens.
No, 100%. And it's just, oh, seeing the killer instinct and coming back out and doing a 180 right there onto the Claude. Well done. But I'm not sure if I would commit to this chase right now.
Yeah, especially as we do see, you know, no real idea, or we don't actually have any real idea where these survivors are, but able to get the down nonetheless. And I would not be surprised, as mentioned earlier, that a gen gets completed, but maybe Atrocity just not taking the time to crank out the gens, instead might be going for the unhook as we speak.
That, or they're splitting on gens that 2 gens will pop. It is possible.
And there's the first.
Is the second coming?
That is the question. But we do not see anyone at this hook. And I will note, there is the second gen. Very nicely done.
As I was saying, you know, they probably split up on the gens, just decided not to save right away.
And at this point in time, the Spirit is either going to have to tunnel out or go for a fresh hook and try and confirm the kill. And looks like they are opting to go for the Claudette at this moment.
I really do think, if he got that down right then, he may have been able to get a 2K this game, but I think now it's just going to be a 1K, unfortunately. This Killer Instinct is actually... Oh, right there. Oh, that might be DS. If that is, that may happen to be a 4-man out. No.
Looks like she is trying to bluff the DS to waste time for Spirit, but it works out in their favor, and they do get the kill. But I do imagine this will result in a 3-man out.
Exactly that. If they got that down earlier and weren't mind gamed by the Claudette going through them, they might have been able to get a fast enough hook to get to this gate and stop one other survivor. But it didn't happen, unfortunately.
I would tend to agree. Well, that being said, that is 38 points for Atrocity, 28 points for OOD, and the total score as of this moment is 98 OOD, 94 Atrocity, so it's only a 4-point game going into trial number 4.
It really comes down to this last game here, and I believe that they also... Does Atrocity have a Spirit left? Let me check. A Spirit or a Nurse? They must have some S tier.
I'd imagine so it definitely is not outside the realm of possibility. And if that's the case, I imagine we will see an S tier to try and end this match. I mean, realistically speaking, as long as they get a 3K, or even, I would say, just a 2K with some extra hooks, I mean, you're pretty much in a golden spot right there.
Oh, 100%. And I'm pretty sure they haven't really used up any killer, unless... Yeah, I don't see anything from that. It looks like they can.
So, with that being said, I'd say either respond with another Spirit or potentially a Blight or a Nurse. Actually, well, they already used...
They already used Blight.
Yeah, they already used Blight, so in that case,
It's a Nurse or a Spirit.
Yeah, Nurse or Spirit would probably be the option.
Yeah. Nurse can do work on this map too. Main building and some of the tiles can be a bit annoying. The reason why I also think the Spirit didn't work as well, I mean, there was a few spots where the Killer could have really changed the tides of the game if they got 1 or 2 of those downs or maybe confirmed a second stage, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're kind of looking at the points real quick, as I want to do a quick breakdown, if we're assuming that they get a 2-man out OOD, that is, that would mean that Atrocity would need to get a 2K with roughly 9 hooks. So, with that being said, definitely is not outside the realm of possibility, but if OOD gets a 3-man out, however, then we're going to see Atrocity need... Actually, once the 3rd man gets out, there's no winning. So, Atrocity is going to need to stop them at 2-man out no matter what, and just get as many hooks thereafter.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think it's entirely possible, especially with a strong killer and say maybe high surveillance playing an S tier or whoever else they have that does S tiers on their team. It's pretty well, should be able to be done. OD has played obviously pretty good today, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a close match. It's probably been some of the closest game 4s that we've had in quite some time.
Yeah. It's really coming down to this last game. A few games we've seen where it's been like the last game is more like an impossible scenario or just kind of like a fun exhibition game. But this is not one of those times.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, you know, if we're kind of looking forward to Season 2, which is a bit of time off, that's one thing I am excited for, that based on the way that we're going to set up our win system now, or how to measure what is a win, what is a loss, pretty much every game is going to matter, which is going to be kind of cool. You know, though I'll miss the mean games, at the same time, it'll be nice in the sense that, you know, every match will count. You always want to ideally win the match at the end of the day, as you'll be getting a season point per win in your match, with some season points up for grabs for the total winner as well.
Right, exactly. I think that'd be really cool. You can almost even go over some of the changes, I guess, while we wait. Like, what are all like the big changes that everyone could be expecting?
Yeah, actually, I'm really glad that you asked. You know, from things to a.
Can you invite or Zappies? They
Yes.
said they're having problems with joining.
Yes, I can. That should not
Thank
be
you.
an issue. But some of the things that you'll be expected to see change, things like resets that are going to be a bit more strict.
Oh, you just cut off to me.
Things like, whatchamacallit, killer selection, where basically teams are going to be able to ban and pick killers during that round, which will be a really fun time. And then the map selection as well, where you're going to be able to more or less ban a map that you don't want to play on. That will then result in determining what the maps will be for that week, though our map pool currently is getting smaller and smaller due to desync and other bugs and issues, unfortunately.
I hope that by the time January comes along, they fix some things, especially with like the new chapter that will be coming out, and maybe like December they'll try to patch things in before they go on like holidays. That's what I'm hoping for right now. So hopefully those things come back. Because we want to see some Cold Tower, we want to see some of the Macmillan and auto hit the maps, but yeah, bugs.
Yep, it do be bug by daylight after all. But at the same time, there's still a lot of great maps available to us, and fingers crossed, knock on wood, that no other maps get affected by desync, as I know that other organizers like myself and I have been discussing going, okay, so what maps do we have left? And it is far and few between. I've made the joke at this point that by the time January comes around, we're going to be playing nothing but Trapper on Badham 4.
Oh no. If you have to do a comp match on Badham 4, it's like, they got one hook, ladies and gentlemen. They won.
Yeah, Badham's rough, especially if Nurse. I don't know if you knew this, because Badham just is always a miserable map in general, but there's actually a room in Badham, in House of Pain, where Nurse actually cannot physically blink into it.
I didn't know about that. Which area? Is that like the area where the gen sometimes spawns?
No, so House of Pain, if you are in the entrance, normally, you know, to the right of the garage, if you're there, Nurse can't blink in there at all.
What?
Yeah. It is
Don't
miserable. You can blink out, you just can't blink in.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that. That is actually kind of nasty. I'll just go up to one of those things when they see the Nurse blinking, I'm like, sucks to be you.
Yeah, pretty much. I just think that there's like too many objects in that area, causing it that basically it's hitbox blocking her from, you know, blinking there in that moment. It is a miserable, miserable moment, and I remember it happened in my game, and I went back and like, okay, I don't even care if I lose the game at this point. I'm just checking what happened here, and I did some tests. I'm like, wow, okay, good to know, good to know.
I mean, this game is nothing short of perfect.
At the same time, I will admit, outside of the major issues that did come with this update, I'll say this update was pretty fun.
No, yeah, I think there's a lot of changes that are really good, and there's definitely a lot of issues, but as much as I kind of dislike Circle of Healing, it adds different aspects of the game, and is kind of, you know, fun to toy with. So, yeah, it's different. It adds elements to the game.
Yeah, I would agree. And I definitely like that they're still experimenting, finding new things to add. The biggest thing is that I will say that I do kind of wish, I know right now we're assuming that there's going to be a killer and survivor being released with this upcoming update. I do hope that in the future they take the time to do more paragraphs, less chapters. The reason why is, you know, that would give them some time back to really update the game and, you know, increase quality of life.
No, yeah, I agree completely. I think it also, again, it kind of like didn't feel as long to have these paragraphs in between the chapters. It's like, huh? We're already about to get more content?
Yeah, I mean, this one was kind of unique because obviously they wanted to release Michaela, but they couldn't alongside Hellraiser. And so it made sense that they're going to do that additional mid-chapter update. And I was kind of questioning, is this going to throw off the content cycle, or are they just going to release another, you know, killer and or survivor a month and a half later? And sure enough, I mean, right now the estimated dates are PTB on the 9th, which right now we have heard nothing from Behavior regarding that. And then the release would be November 30th if the content cycle is correct.
Yeah, basically right at the start of December. And honestly, I think what was it, DBD leaks kind of showed that there was plans for the PTB on the 9th, right?
Yeah, I think that was it. At the very least, they didn't say that the PTB would be on the 9th, but they at least showed in the store that there were hidden cosmetics for a killer and survivor that we're not aware of. So that's where it's seeming like we're probably going to get a PTB on the 9th, full release on the 30th, and we'll get a Killer and Survivor.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I'm very excited to see it. Again, we were talking about the powers. I just hope it's something unique or at least a bit more unique, you know? I think there was some sort of interview they had where they were kind of talking about it. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, that being said, does appear to be another spirit.
Response with a spirit on spirit battle here. I am with it.
I do want to note, though, we do not see that dried cherry blossom. Instead, we see the talisman and the hat, which I think, honestly, after discussing it more and more, I do think that this is still the go-to for spirit. You want that duration, you want that recharge or speed. I just think that this makes a whole lot more sense than the cherry blossoms would. And we do see a cheeky little aura read there from an Undying totem. So giving that spirit some good information and a very good hit over that vault.
That was a fantastic phase right there, right onto the survivor. Like, legit, not even a centimeter off, I felt like. Let's see where he goes.
Yeah, it looks like they're still on top of them, trying to get to that pallet, though, and ends up on the right side of the pallet, but because the vault had not actually confirmed, hitting the pallet instead, and Nia being able to re-vault back, that is huge for these survivors.
That feels so lucky that it actually worked out. Here comes the down, though.
Yeah, there's no two ways about that one. Nia going down, whether she likes or not. But I will mention, during Corrupt Intervention, that is main gen done, which is huge for these survivors.
Oh. And honestly, this is kind of like the similar start that OOD had with their spirit, with one down and one gen done. But I think what Atrocity, they did have another gen done here, though, I think, at this rate. And there it is.
You ask and you shall receive, my friend. You ask and you shall receive.
I was waiting. I was like being very patient with it. I was like slowing my speech. I'm like, there should be a gen. Come on.
Yeah, we played enough Dead by Daylight. We're like, okay, you know, there should be a gen done about now.
Yeah. Especially in comp, you can time it more. In pubs, it's hard to. It's like, I don't know if these guys are actually doing anything, so who knows.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. But looks like Spirit here going to take their time and confirm this kill. Or actually, second stage, rather. As that would make a lot of sense to me. Yeah. You want to make sure that this person moves on a second stage quickly. But is going away and pressuring a gen instead. I'm a little bit surprised here. I don't think there really was a reason to move off of that hook. As they do get the hit, and they also do get that second stage nonetheless.
I honestly would have dropped that pallet. That was a very risky play right there.
And
I feel like OD is playing a bit risky.
Those risks might end up biting them in the butt later on down the line, as we do see this chase going up to the hill, and Spirit trying to find out where they went, but Balance landing, getting them a bit of distance, but not really enough to make it worth their while, as they are on a very, very dangerous pallet.
Exactly, and downed again. Here comes the third hook with only 2 gens done right now. I feel like Atrocity Spirit is in a bit of a better spot at the moment.
Yeah, especially if Ruin's still up at this moment in time. We have not seen any totems cleansed, but I do want to note the number of totems that we have seen on the map, suggesting Ruin, Undying, and Haunted Ground. You know, at the end of the day, this is going to be a difficult situation for these survivors that they do opt to cleanse at any point in time.
Oh, exactly. I believe this is almost the exact same build that the last killer brought as well.
I mean, Haunted Ground would be strong like that.
That is unfortunate.
But I will say, if we do look at hooks to gens, this is exactly the same spot we saw earlier.
Yeah. And I was going to say that they had everybody injured, but it looks like Zappies was just reset, and I imagine the rest of them are going to be reset. They're going to be healing up somewhere, and I know that they're thinking at the top of their heads, man, we need to get rid of Ruin.
Yeah, Ruin is going to put a lot of pressure on them. At the same time, if we're looking at the gen split, we see that 1 gen on Shaq's side. I think that does mean that the majority of the gens are on Carnival. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for these survivors to break up these generators, as we do see a noise notification over there in the background. Not exactly sure what that was, but Zappies does go down.
I will note that these phases have been on point so far. Really, like that dry cicada, like you said, I feel like it can be really beneficial, but also a hindrance because like you think you're right on top of them, and oh, they went right behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like they do identify another survivor and are opting to go for the chase rather than going for the pickup. This might be a little bit greedy of them, as they definitely need to get these hooks confirmed. And speaking of greed, this Zarina just greeting these pallets left and right.
The Zarina also greeted one of the other pallets I mentioned before that should have just been dropped, but they're really trying to get everything done perfectly. And again, I mean, this is a bad pallet, but they just decided to run through it. Very risky if the Spirit thought you were going to not stay there.
We do hear another totem go off, and the Spirit looks to be disengaging. If, in instance, this is haunted ground, this would be a perfect time for them to potentially get a free down.
Honestly, if I were them, I know like you are exposed right now, but I might just try to reset a bit and just play slow and wait it out. But I don't think they're going to do that.
I mean, at the same time, though, they do get the down on Zappies. But if Zappies was there anyways, with or without haunted ground, I think the situation would have been the same, as we do see them already being injured. So not any really great value there from haunted ground.
No, not at all. I think didn't find anybody who wanted to find. And if I were the survivors, wait out this little bit of time that is left and just come back after.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Let's see what happens. No progress on really any of these gens. I think the Spirit is in a very strong spot. I think they have a loose regen, and with Spirit, it's a little bit tighter, but still kind of loose.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be a lot more manageable with the amount of distance that they can cross with their phase walk. At the same time, you know, it's still going to be difficult. Anytime where you just have to be that M1 110 killer, that Spirit really is at the end of the day.
Exactly, and it can be really tough sometimes, but honestly, these phases have been so on point that it doesn't matter. Like, Spirit, again, showing why she is very strong.
And definitely still a S-tier killer, in my opinion. And once again, Zarina, I don't know what has been up with Zarina this entire game, but it's being very, very greedy around these loops. And it is certainly costing her, as this will result in her moving on to second stage. And Spirit in a very commanding position at this moment in time.
She honestly is like so comfortable right now. I'd have like 2 people on Death Hook. Here's the Adam, who is on Death Hook. You can probably tunnel this guy out, and there's still 2 gens left. You are in a comfortable spot right now.
Yeah, especially as this Adam is looping around where this hook is at. I mean, Spirit really does not have to leave all too much, but is trying to identify where the Adam went and does get the down. So this will probably result in the first kill of the game if they do go for the pick.
100%, and I believe this will result in the win here for Atrocity. They honestly just need to find the Zarina who is on Death Hook, confirm that, and they close to the finish line.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much the go-to. Like we said earlier, in the instance that OOD gets the 3-man out, that will guarantee their victory. And to be fair, the score is still within reach of OOD, as that will be the 4th gen that has popped off.
But now it's left to the loose 3-gen here, and what Spirit was gonna... Oh, Adam wasn't actually on Death Hook. Oh, my bad. I thought he was on Death Hook. I don't know why I was just completely ignoring this, and I was like, wait, she's just proxying this Survivor. But they are going to come and try and get the save, but they might want to get a 2-man save. There it is. They get the 2-man save coming in with the borrowed time. Adam's just sitting there, but I might just, like, wait that out, unless he has DS.
Yeah, I could have sworn that Adam was on Death Hook as well, but I guess not.
No, but that live really did say that Nia. She did not have that. She was a goner.
But is bringing them over to the shack. And I will mention, Nia is without a doubt on Death Hook, as they did progress earlier. So Nia will go down here. And now at the end of the day, OOD needs to get that last gen done ASAP in order to try and attempt the 3-man out. Otherwise, Atrocity will probably end up being able to get at least the 2K.
Exactly that, and I think that it honestly probably will happen here. I don't see... Oh, they were close to this gen. If that chase was just a bit longer.
Yeah, at the end of the day, as you said, if the chase was just a wee bit longer, we do see Serena here trying to take the attention of the Spirit, and we do see that bounce line and Spirit going to be face walking back to that generator to ensure they do not get it out. But looks like Ruin is doing his job as we see another gen here, and Zappy's coming out of nowhere, taking it down. Not exactly sure what to say about that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought perhaps maybe they took that personally to try and do a DS play, but that does not appear to be the case, as Zappies is officially dead at this moment in time.
And there's no reason, or I don't think they can win this. Like you said, they just needed 9 hooks and 2 kills, and they win it. I'm pretty sure this is what they had. They got it.
This is pretty much the GG. At this point in time, they can get another 6 points from the gen, and then I think that is just a few more, 3, 6, so that is, what, 15 points? Yeah, it's not enough. They'll be 2 points shy at this point in time. So the game is officially over.
Really well played from both sides. I mean, I'm curious to see how this ends. It probably is going to be the 4K here. They were very close to finishing that last gen. A really solid effort here from OOD, and they still might do it if they do commit.
Yeah, I think though there's a lot of different moments where they lost some good pressure, whether it be Serena greeting pallets, whether it be the survivors making some questionable plays. I think, you know, there are a lot of mistakes that were made that I think if they weren't, I think OOD had this match in the bag.
No, exactly that. And it's really frustrating to see because it was really entertaining a game, and I kind of was rooting for OOD there, not gonna lie. I kind of wanted to see a upset here.
Yeah, I would tend to agree on that. And Spirit, just taking a look around, trying to identify where these survivors are. Both are on death hook and maybe playing a little bit immersed, as Spirit taking a bit of a victory lap at this point in time.
Essentially that.
I mean, do you
some
see
blood
and scratch marks? Looks like Spirit on their trail, going for the win here. But looks like Mr. Zarina, actually, I thought it was Ace for a second there, is able to double back and try and get to this pallet, but will end up going for the loop here on the wagon instead.
Yeah, I think High Surveillance is just kind of playing with him at this point.
Just a little, and they do end up getting it down, and that there will secure the W here for Atrocity, as this will be Zarina's third hook, and the 4th survivor will have the opportunity to go for the hatch.
I wonder if they're gonna get hatched again on Atrocity.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, Hatch is going to spawn just about now, so it's anyone's game at this moment in time as far as the Hatch escape is concerned, though those 3 additional points won't exactly yield much in ways of assisting OOD at getting W, especially as we do see the Ace now identified by High Surveillance and is trying to, you know, keep their distance to the best of their ability, while Spirit here just waiting for their power to come back.
You know, it'd be a really good flex if you Bloodlust 3 as Spirit here.
Ah, yes, the good old Bloodlust 3 Spirit. Sounds like a fun time.
Yeah. But he's gonna end it off all proper-like and get a phase. But with the new Spirit, you can easily identify where she's coming from, so able to vault that really easily.
Yeah, and we do see in a lot of these situations with these vaults that with that knowledge, they are able to dodge those hits pretty well. Though falling for the phase mind game, apparently, and getting the grab.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can tell where she's coming from, but they can still do mind games. You kind of still have to kind of make reads. So.
But with that being said, that there will be the end of the match, resulting in 14 points for OOD and 47 for Atrocity Spirit. Total points.
Solid series.
Yeah, solid all around. And with that being said, we're looking at 112 for Object of Depression and 141 for Atrocity. GG, well played to both teams, and congratulations to Atrocity for that victory.
100%. A very entertaining series. I'm glad I was here to spectate it. And share it all with you guys.
No, absolutely, and very happy to have you here. But with that being said, that there will be the end of today's stream. But a couple things before we go. We do have another game starting at 6 p.m. CST with Cookies versus How Do We Get Here, so definitely make sure to be here for that. But otherwise, Domo, if everyone here were wanting to stop on by and say hi next time you are live, where would they find you?
On Twitch, all4domo. I was just streaming a day or two ago, and I'm trying to stream a bit more consistently now. Having some fun with a variety of killer and survivor. It's having some fun, doing some comp games in here and there.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, I am Mark, aka Giltspire. Not only am I the commissioner of Champions of the Fog, but I am also a Dead by Daylight content creator, where I'll be live once again at 7 p.m. CST on Monday for some Survive with Friends. So definitely make sure to stop on by and say hi then. But on that note, we are gonna go raid one of our competitors here in Champions of the Fog, Sergeant Fidget, who is also one of my hosts here. So definitely make sure to stick on by and say hi as they play some Survivor.
That should be fun. All right.
On that note, guys, we'll see ya in roughly 2 hours, 30 minutes.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.